Hey, welcome to Creative for More, the podcast. Over here, our conversations are centered around birthing the more that exists within you. We help you mine your originality, live more resiliently, and leverage all of your experiences so that you can serve the world as the highest expression of yourself. My guests will challenge your thinking and give you practical insights for being more, doing more, and having more. My name is Tomba Muswagu, and I am your host. Let's get started.
So today we are discussing all things female brain, the power of the female brain. First of all, I thought all brains were just brains, like seriously. But anyway, before we get into that, let us meet you.
Okay, so I am a knowledge entrepreneur. And what that means is a person who teaches, trains, strategizes, coaches, talks to people on how to maximize the power of their brain and everything that the brain does. So that's basically who I am and what I do.
First of all, Kami, when we were having the conversation and this topic was proposed, I thought to myself, like, who would have known? I know that definitely women think differently to men. Obviously, I live with a man, and I'm like, seriously, I can see that from a mile away. So I would love for you to just help us deconstruct, this whole female brain, male brain, thing. What is it, and how do they differ?
Okay, so let me just start to talk about some things about the female brain. The female brain is very, very powerful, and I think that if women understood the power of their brains, it will make a whole lot of difference in the prosperity of womanhood. So let's start with, I'll share 7 ways. 7 ways a woman is unique. 7 ways a woman is unique. Number 1, now there's part of the brain called the hippocampus. The hippocampus is the memory center of the brain. The memory center of the brain. Women have a hippocampus that is twice larger than the hippocampus of a man. Hippocampus of a man. So that's why women remember things more than men. A woman can remember what you did to her in 1974. Remember what you did in 1985. Remember what you did in 1996. Okay. So women have amazing memories. That's the first thing. Now, because women have amazing memories, women are more intuitive than men. Women are more intuitive than men because your memory center propels your intuition. Yeah, the memory center propels your intuition. So the stronger your memory, the stronger your intuition. So women are more intuitive. A woman can sense danger faster than a man. A woman can sense a person's attitude and a person's propensity to act in certain ways faster than a man. Let me give you a couple of examples. A woman can tell her husband that, listen, that's your friend. Are you sure he really likes you? She could just say it like that, just passively, just passively. And the man could say, I know, we've been together since secondary school, what I say. And then before you know it, the true colors come out and the woman is vindicated. So women are more, because of the way the brain works. So, Tombra, let me say this to you. You know what? Everything we do is a function of how our brain works. For example, there's part of the brain called the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is the part of the brain responsible for food appetite or hunger and satiation, as well as sexual desires. Men have a hypothalamus that is 2.5 times larger than the hypothalamus of a woman. That's why men have a stronger appetite for food than women. And that's why men have a stronger sexual appetite than women. So everything we are is a function of how our brains are constructed. I will go on. So women have stronger memories. Women have stronger intuition. That's number 2. Number 3, women are more detailed, are wired to be more detailed than men because women have a larger anterior cingulate cortex. Anterior cingulate cortex is the part of your brain responsible for weighing options. So look at this. If a man and a woman go to a grocery store to buy detergent, a man looks at the first detergent he sees and just buys it. A woman will look at all the options. So women spend 2 twice more time in grocery stores than men because they have a stronger propensity for weight. And it's good to weigh options because it's the more options you weigh, sometimes the better your decision making.
You're speaking in very general terms, aren't you?
Yes, general terms. So that's number one. Your thalamus is the part of your brain responsible for mentalizing, for seeing other people's perspectives, and for foresight. Women have a larger thalamus than men, and so women can see perspectives more. A woman can see other people's perspectives more. That's why women tend to be more patient with people than men. A woman has a longer term or stronger foresight to things than men. So let me share this. So I've counseled many marriage couples, discussed and interacted with many families. On many occasions, when a couple have a child who is about to get married or who wants to get married, from my experience, I've seen that if the woman is not comfortable with the marriage, if the woman is not comfortable with the marriage, what will happen is that eventually, most of the time, the marriage does not succeed. The man may not see anything wrong. The man may say, oh, it's okay, go ahead. If the woman is not comfortable, eventually she gets vindicated. Let's go to the Bible and check this out. I'll give you 4 instances in the Bible. 4 instances. Samson, you know the guy called Samson. He had a mother and a father, Manoah and Manoah's wife, And then, the first time an angel appeared to them, you know what the father said? The father said, man, we have seen an angel, we are going to die, And the wife said, hell no, we are not going to die. That if we are going to die, he won't have accepted our offerings. So she had a more longer term perspective than the husband. That's exhibit number 1. Exhibit number 2, Isaac and Rebekah. Rebekah saw further into the future of her children, Esau and Jacob. Yeah, Esau and Jacob than Isaac. That's it. Exhibit number 3. Pilate. Pilate was going to ratify the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, and then his wife told him that don't do anything against Jesus Christ. I've suffered a lot in a dream because of him. Yes, I've suffered a lot in a dream because of him. So she had a stronger foresight. Pilate's wife had a stronger foresight than Pilate himself. And then I can go further. We can talk about even Mary and Jesus Christ. Jesus was like, my time has not come, but she saw further. She was like, man, whatever he does, whatever he says, just do it. She saw further. I can go on and on and on and on. Now, that's just in the Bible. We can go outside the Bible and then talk more about that. But basically, I'm talking generally. Now, you may say in some instances, guess what? In some instances, a man may have stronger foresight than a woman. Let's say, if I'm a stock exchange, if I'm a Wall Street analyst, and I have studied a lot into certain industries, like I've studied robotics, artificial intelligence. Of course, because by virtue of my knowledge, because knowledge is a precursor to foresight, I will have more foresight than my wife when it comes to that area. So when a man has more foresight, most of the time it may be specific areas because he has more knowledge in that area. However, yes, that's the truth. However, generally speaking, we are talking general now. We're talking general. That is, all things being equal. If a man and a woman have the same level of intelligence, all other things being equal, the woman is going to have more foresight. All other things being equal. So that's what I'm talking about.
Comparatively.
Okay, but let's not even dwell too much. There are other areas. I've just looked at 3 areas. I'm talking 7 areas now. There are 7 areas where a woman towers above a man in terms of cognitive potential. So let me go into the other areas. Women are more empathetic than men. Women show more empathy than men. Now, empathy activates the most important part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex. So businessmen who are more empathetic are more successful than businessmen who are less empathetic. So empathy is good for business, yes. I'll give the example of Elon Musk. When Elon Musk sold PayPal and he got his own bit, he invested immediately in 3 other companies. and he didn't even have enough money for rent. He had to borrow $50,000 for his rent because he was saying it was not about empathy. How can I help people? Look at how he started the Boring Company. The Boring Company is going to sort out a lot of traffic problems in America. So they're not just looking at, okay, how to live a lavish life of rapacity and avarice, and how to buy more skyscrapers and more penthouses and more yachts and all that. So Henry Ford made the car, the automobile, more affordable when it was only a reach for a luxury brand, because he was empathetic, and by doing so he was able to expand the market share revenue of Ford Motor Company. So the more empathetic you are, the more creative you are. So empathy works for the brain, and that's why you see people like Jeff Bezos. They are obsessed with their customers more than their competitors and all that. So women are more empathetic. Now, why are women more empathetic? Simple. Women release more oxytocin than men. Women release more oxytocin than men. Oxytocin is the empathy hormone. That's why a woman will bond with her child, strongly, and that's why women are naturally more caregiving than men, and all that. So that's one. And like I said, empathy helps your brain. It helps your prefrontal. It helps your prefrontal cortex. Okay, so that's the fourth one. I've been a teacher for 20 years, and you can do your research as well. There are more male dollars in school than female dollars. There are more male dollars in school than female dollars. However, let's balance it. There are more male geniuses also than female geniuses. There are more male geniuses than female geniuses. So let's balance it. Now, but basically, what I'm trying to hammer at here is that women have a higher IQ on the average than men. That's the truth. That is the truth. Let me give some more facts and figures. In 1950, there were no women in Harvard Business School. No women in Harvard Business School. All the students of Harvard Business School were men. Fast forward to this day, women make up 40% of population of Harvard Business School. However, even though they make up only 40%, 60% of the best performing students in Harvard Business School are women. You see, the problem is that let's go and give facts and figures. And I can go on and on. I can go on and on all this. You understand? Let's go to the Nobel Prize Institute and let's pour down. Let's go into the facts and figures now. And let us not forget that women have not been given equal opportunity. In spite of this, women have not been given equal opportunity. Yeah. But I'm not trying to be.
Yeah, but I think it's the numbers thing. When you say how many, technological breakthroughs are female CEOs brought to the table, the first question you need to ask to that is how many female CEOs are there versus male CEOs. So if it's a smaller pool, then obviously it's going to be less, isn't it?
Yeah. So I was talking about empathy now. The first CEO to admit that sugary drinks are not healthy was a woman. The first CEO to admit that sugary drinks was not healthy. That's the former CEO of Pepsi, Indra Nooyi. And by doing so, she was able to position the brand in a stronger way, and Pepsi became a stronger brand, made higher profits, had a higher market share, and so on and so forth. So, it takes empathy for you as a CEO to say that, listen, sugary drinks, I'm CEO of a sugar beverage manufacturing company. However, sugary drinks are not healthy. And that act in itself did not take the company backward, it propelled the company forward. So let me talk about just one or two more things about the uniqueness of the female brain. The other thing about the female brain is this. The female brain is, women are more better at managing more than one task. You can call it multitasking than men. Because, hold on, there's a part of your brain responsible for multitasking. It's called your corpus callosum. Your corpus callosum. The part of your brain responsible for multitasking. Women have a thicker corpus callosum than men. So a woman can be breastfeeding, at the same time she's cooking, at the same time she's doing one or two calculations, and all that. Women naturally, men like to focus on one thing and then they go and layer to the others. Now let me share one or two other things. When a man is stressed, when a man is stressed, blood flow to his brain stops. When a woman is stressed, blood flow to her brain increases. Blood flow to her brain increases. Yeah. So some people will find out that women even cope more under stress than men. Women cope more under stress than men. So, but you know what? Tombra, I don't want to go. It's not about. I want to start going into more important things that, like, how women can optimize the power of their brains. I just wanted to point out. I just wanted to point out some unique qualities about the female brain.
I would love to hear that, and I think it's important, because what we want to know, myself and all the women on this call, and even male well-wishers as well, is how we can, optimize, this unique points of differences in the way our minds or our brains work. What can we do? Tell us.
Okay. But I'm going to talk about three things that women can do to optimize the power of their brain. Before I do so, I want to talk about one particular woman that really inspires me. Her name is Angela Arendt. She was the former CEO of Burberry. When she became vice president of retail at Apple, she said, listen, we are going to take a different direction. We're not just going to make good camera phones. We are going to make people become better photographers. And she turned Apple stores into fulfillment centers where people can come and learn photography on Tuesdays and Thursdays. On Mondays and Wednesdays, children can come in and learn coding. That singular act of empathy alone increased the number of traffic to Apple stores, and their revenues went up. Can you see how empathy can increase profits, and how women can tap into the power of empathy? How women can tap into the power of empathy to advancing in business. So I just wanted to mention that. So let's get down to business. How can women optimize the power of their brain? There are so many things I can mention, but I just want to mention three things. Now, and I want to start by dropping a lot of one-pointers. First thing I want to say is that the greatest asset a person has is their attention. Your greatest asset is your attention. Your greatest asset is not your connections. Your greatest asset is not your body features, the color of your skin, your shape, whatever. The greatest asset a person has, male or female, is your attention. The quality of your attention determines the quality of your ideas. The greatest ideas don't come to people who are distracted easily. Now, what? The second thing is that we need to say this or ask this question. If women have so powerful a brain, why is it that women have not really maximized or shown this potential? Why has it not been harnessed to the level that it could be harnessed? And I'll say this to us, because let's understand the strengths and weaknesses, the opportunities and threats. Women feel before they think. A woman has a powerful brain, exceedingly powerful brain. However, women feel before they think. And if a woman does not think, no matter how powerful her brain is, she cannot optimize it. No matter how fast your car is, if you don't switch on the engine, it's not going to move.
I can totally relate.
It's not going to move. So even though women have a powerful brain, women first feel before they think. So the women who optimize the power of their brain are women who can go past their feelings, or who have learned to control their feelings so that they can get to the stage of thinking and then optimize the power of their thoughts and their brain.
Oh,
yes.
Control our feelings. I like
yes.
that.
Yes. So when a woman is consumed by her feelings, she doesn't get to access the powerful brain that she has. So the feelings overwhelm the thoughts, because we have two parts of our brain. We have the emotional brain and we have the thinking brain. When the emotional brain comes alive, the feeling brain shuts down, and vice versa. So, for example, when a person is afraid, when we are afraid as human beings, our thinking brain shuts down, because fear is an emotion. Fear is not a thought, it's an emotion.
So how do you control your feelings?
Very good, Tombra. I'm here for you. I'm going to answer that. I'm going to decimate it to the final letter. I'm going to trash it out immaculately. Yeah. So back to your question. How do we control our feelings? Now, good. So the first thing I want to talk about is attention. So there are two types of people. Those in the wandering thought realm and those in the dominant thought realm. You are either in the wandering thought realm or in the dominant thought realm. When you are in the wandering thought realm, your emotion takes over you and your emotional brain comes alive. When you are in the dominant thought realm, your thinking brain comes alive and you can then control your emotions. I'll repeat myself, Tombra. I'll repeat myself. There are two types of human beings, two types of women. Women in the wandering thought realm, their thought wanders easily. Or women in the dominant thought realm. Now, when you are in the wandering thought realm, what happens is that your emotional brain comes alive and your thinking brain shuts down. On the other hand, when you are in the dominant thought realm, your thinking brain comes alive and then you can control your emotions. So women have to make sure that they are more in the dominant thought realm rather than in the wandering thought realm. When people are in the wandering thought realm, what happens? Willpower decreases, procrastination increases, and mood swings increase. I'll repeat myself, stay with me, stay with me. When people are in the wandering thought realm, when the thoughts are very fickle, you know, the mind is not steady, stable, and still, but it's wandering. One thought here, one thought there, you know, the mind keep wandering. Willpower decreases, and that's why some people are not very disciplined, because they're in the wandering thought realm. They procrastinate easily, they're in the wandering thought realm. Their sense of decision, their sense of clarity is low, because when you're in the wandering thought realm, confusion increases. When you're in the wandering thought realm, you hear many voices. When you're in the wandering thought realm, there's a lot of indecision. There's a lot of indecision. Now, so I'm saying this so that people can understand what thought realm they are in and how to reorganize or strategize or enforce or enhance whatever stage they want to be in. On the other hand, when people are in the dominant thought realm, what happens? In the dominant thought realm, there's a lot of clarity. Energy increases, willpower increases, passion increases, proactivity increases. Tombra, let's not forget, we don't make up our emotions to do things. We make up our mind to do things.
I like that. Make up
yeah. So it's about when you are in the dominant thought realm, that's when your energy increases, your willpower increases, because energy flows where attention goes. When your attention is neither here or there, your energy collapses. So in life, don't chase wealth, don't chase energy, chase attention. Once you have attention, you have everything you want. Once you have attention, yes, the strength of your ideas depend on the strength of your attention. The stronger your attention, the stronger your ideas. The stronger your attention, the stronger your insight. The stronger your attention, the stronger your intuition. The stronger your attention, the stronger your curiosity. The stronger your attention, the stronger your innovation. The stronger your attention, the stronger your inspiration. And the stronger your attention, the stronger your inventions.
Right, please, let us drop some mics for you. Let us drop some mics. I completely hear you when you speak about, you know, this whole wandering thought realm and this dominant thought realm. Because I find that, and when you said, I love what you said when you said, you know what, it's the attention that really matters, because it's the attention that drives everything. The stronger your attention, the stronger your inspiration and all of that. Because I find for myself, you know, the times where I am seriously paying attention and I am focused, that's when I'm able to get, you know, like the absolute best ideas. On days that even when I want to, you know, it almost feels like I cannot control it. You know, some days where I just feel as if, you know what, my mind is wandering and I'm just kind of going up and down, and I'm not really sure what even causes that imbalance. Very good. Okay, like Tombra, I said I'm here for you. I'm going to answer all your questions. I'm going to deal with this matter to the detail, to the final letter, and I'm going to deal with it. So why are people susceptible to wandering thoughts? You go to your parlor and you forget why you even went to your parlor in the first place. You know why? Now, Tombra, I'm going to drop a lot of one pointers now. But the first thing is this: you can only lose your attention when there's something else. There's one more thing to think about. You only lose your attention when there's one more thing to think about. The more things you have to think about, the lesser the power of your attention. The problem with us is that we take on too many things. Sometimes we take on too many things because we want to impress. We take on too many things because
We want to earn more salary. We want to earn more money. We take on too many things because of peer pressure, and we don't know that only one thing is needful. And if your eye be single, your whole body shall be full of light. So the problem with us is that the more plural your desires, the less powerful they become. I'll take that one more time. I'll repeat myself. The more plural your desires, the less powerful your energy and your willpower. The more singular your desires, the stronger your energy and your willpower and your attention. The stronger your energy, your willpower, and your attention. So the money that we are chasing, all those things we are chasing, if only our attention was strong, we will have the multi-billion-dollar ideas that we need. In fact, guess what, Tombra, do you know that when your attention is weak, your nervous system collapses, and then your health is compromised? So at the end of the day, when your attention is weak, your parasympathetic nervous system crumbles, and you are not only losing cognitively, you are losing bodily, you are losing socially, your creativity is compromised, your relationships are compromised, your sense of self-control and discipline is compromised. Every part of you actually collapses eventually. That's why I say that the greatest asset you have is your attention. I'll tell you this, Tombra. Let me tell you this story. It's a story about the richest man in the world, Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie was the CEO of US Steel. At a certain time in his life, he became so prosperous, and the US government decided to investigate him. They said, this man can't be so prosperous, let's investigate him. They did. The Securities and Exchange Commission, I guess it was, did all their investigation. They couldn't find anything against him, and they asked him, how come a human being is so successful? And you know what he said? He said, if you can focus on a task for 5 minutes without getting distracted, you will have the kind of success I have. If you can focus on a task for 5 minutes without getting distracted, you will have the kind of success I have. Don't chase money. The brain can do amazing things. Don't be distracted. Just focus, build your attention, and every other thing will come to you. Build your attention and every other thing will come to you. Albert Einstein was asked, how did you become such a genius? And he said the same thing. He said, if you can focus on a task, one task at a time, you can achieve the kind of things I achieved.
So that means this speaks to the power of, cyclical living. So when you're living cyclically, which is you focus on one thing, get that one thing in a period of time, then you focus on the next thing rather than doing multiple things at once.
Yes. I wish if this was a Zoom session, for example, I would have shown a lot of slides and shown you how the brain works. Now, Tombra, I'll talk about the brain of a pregnant woman. I'll use this as a case study so you understand how the brain works. Your brain is not tailored to carry on many things at a time. No. It weakens the power of the brain. Now, wait, Tombra, hold on. I told you I'm going to trash out this issue to the final letter. Just hold on. Now, let's look at the brain of a pregnant woman. When a woman becomes pregnant, there's a part of the brain called gray matter. Gray matter is the part of the brain responsible for social communication and interaction. Gray matter shrinks. So when a woman is pregnant, she's not as sociable. She may not be as friendly. She may even become less interactive or, less sociable or more even irritating than she was previously. But guess what? Hold on. The reason why gray matter shrinks and she's like that is so that she can focus on the child. So that three things can happen. Three things, number one, so that this mother-child connection can become stronger. That's number one. Number two, so that she can become sensitive to the biological needs of her child. And then three, she can become aware of the dangers that may be lurking around the corner. So for example, if a woman is in a building that is about to collapse, pregnant women are naturally more perceptive. The reason why she forgets a lot is
because she's focusing on actually.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying, that the brain does not like to carry on too many tasks that don't complement each other. Hello? Hello? Yeah. Yes. So that's why the woman's gray matter shrinks when she's pregnant. Now, and that's why pregnant women act the way they are, and including some of the things that you've spoken about. Now, the moment the woman delivers the child, she delivers a child, gradually The gray matter that shrank begins to expand, and she gets back to her normal self over time. Do you see? And that's how the brain works. That's how the brain works. We just need to understand that that is how the brain works. Now, listen, we have two eyes, but we cannot watch 3 movies at the same time, because the brain was not designed for that. The brain was designed to focus on one thing at a time.
Okay, let us define one thing. What is one thing? You know, are you saying one thing in terms of what is that unit of one thing?
Yes. Don't worry, Tom. I'm going to answer that. Don't worry, I'm going to answer that. So let me say this. So focus is crucial. Attention is crucial. The greatest enemy to attention is distraction. Now, if you had only one thing to think about, you will never lose your attention. The reason why we lose our attention is that the second thing comes up, or the other things come up. That's the only reason. If you had only one thing to think about, one thing, Tom, there's a genius in every woman. Let me tell you something. And I'll show you right now. There's a genius in every woman. The greatest enemy to your genius are the alternatives, the other options that come to us. Yeah. There's a genius in every woman. The only thing that suppresses the genius in every woman are the alternatives. And what am I talking about? Let me give you an example. There was a man by the name of Malcolm X. He was a drug peddler. He was a pimp. And then he went to jail. Malcolm X needs no introduction. He was one of America's most formal freedom fighters, just like Martin Luther. So, but he went to jail. In jail, there was only one book he had to read, and that was the dictionary. There was no TV, there was no social media, there was no Instagram, no Facebook, there was no distraction, just the dictionary. In jail, Malcolm X read the dictionary 3 times. 3 times. He read the dictionary 3 times, cover to cover. He became so eloquent, he became so lexicographically proficient, he became an amazing polemicist. He came out of jail and became the most fiery speaker America has ever had or known or seen. And the rest is history. You know what brought out the genius in him? What brought out the genius in him was a singular desire. There was only one thing he was doing in jail, reading the dictionary. There's a genius in everybody. The problem with us is that there are too many things that we are getting into. Your brain loves to focus. The number one food for your brain is focus. Number one food for your brain is focus. I'll give you another example, Tombra, I've memorized 14 books of the Bible. Only 14. There are 66 books of the Bible. I've memorized 14. Tombra, what do you... Wait, hold on.
I've seen you do that thing before, and I'm like, how can someone know the whole... Like, that makes no sense. Like, how can someone know 14 books? I'm still trying to know the names of the books. And you guys, this guy's knowing the content. Honestly, it's like a magic trick. I'm telling you. Do you guys want to see it? If you want to see it, tell me, and I'll quiz for me, and it will shock you to your marrows. Like literally, this guy, he will say Luke 7:5, and he will tell you what it is. I'm like, what? How? Anyway, continue.
Okay, so now, Tombra. So there was this woman that went to jail, and she came in jail. She memorized the entire Bible. I've memorized only 14. This woman memorized the 66 books of the Bible. You know what? Why it happened? Because in jail, the only thing she had to have was the Bible. The only thing she had to have was the Bible. So she was a genius all along. It was the environment that brought out the genius in her. It was just the environment, the fact that she was focused on a single task that brought out the genius in her. Now, there was a year where...
The principle of mastery, isn't it? Like when
of course.
The greatest people, you know, sports stars and all of that, the Williams sisters and all of that.
Yes.
You know, wake up from the age of 3, and they're on the court every single morning doing that one thing.
One thing.
Then your genius will come out at the end of the day.
Yes. Your genius will come out. Okay, so that's one thing that we need to do to bring out the... So now, Tombra, let me say this. Let me tell you why attention is powerful. Your attention increases the level of your interest. Now, there are 4 levels of interest. 4 levels of interest. There's level 1 is aversion, where you're not even interested. Level 2 is attraction. You're attracted to it. Level 3 is affection. You like it. Then level 4 is addiction. You love it. Now, Tombra, watch this. the stronger your attention, the stronger you go from aversion to attraction to affection to addiction. It's all about so as you build your attention to a thing, you go from aversion to affection. So, Tombra, I memorized 14 books of the Bible, like I said. You know what? I started with 5 minutes alone, but I would just focus on it for 5 minutes. And as my attention was increasing, day in, day out, I went from one chapter to one book to the second book, third book, fourth book, so I did 14 books of the Bible. It's all about attention to that issue. Now, there was a particular year when I read a particular book of the Bible 1,000 times. So in 2011, I read the book of Proverbs, 2011 thereabouts. I read the book of Proverbs 1,000 times. I was reading the entire book 3 times every day. But guess what? I was in my office. I was living in my office practically. I was living in my office. In the morning, I was doing that day in, day out. So, you know, book of Proverbs has 31 chapters. I was reading the 31 chapters 3 times every day. So I was reading 93 chapters every day. And I did it for a whole entire year. And that was how I was able to memorize the entire book of Proverbs. But the genius is in everybody, if only you can focus.
Why were you reading the Bible, the book of Proverbs 3 times a day?
Yeah, I wanted to be the best at what I do. I wanted to be the best in my field. But it just goes back to the same thing. Because I shut out everything, all the other things, I just shut them out. I was able to focus on one thing. And that's how there's a genius in every woman. There's a genius in every woman. It's just that we need to start doing certain things differently. Tombra. Okay, go ahead.
Are you focusing on anything, or are there specific things that we have, you know, proclivities towards to be amazing? Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
I mean,
yes, I understand. You can choose to start with what you have a proclivity for, what you have a passion or an inkling for. But guess what? With the way the human being is created, even if you are in an environment where you don't appear to have a proclivity for it, you will eventually have a proclivity for it. Let me tell you why I'm saying this. Let me tell you, Tombra, in whatever you choose to do, if you want to excel in whatever you choose to do, you will end up having to do things that you don't like doing. I'll give you 2 examples. Warren Buffett is an investor. He loves investing. But to become the most successful investor of all time, he had to sharpen his communication skills. He doesn't like talking, but he had to go to Dale Carnegie's Institute of Communication to learn a lot about public speaking skills. And he said that was the best decision he has ever made in his life. You see, if you want to be the best at your field, you will have to do things you love doing as well as things that you don't love doing.
So what you're saying is that these are principles. It's not about, you know, it's not subjective in a sense. It's principles. If this is good, if you focus on it, whether or not you like it, you start to enjoy it. You move from aversion to addiction ultimately.
Yes.
Really interesting concept. Really interesting concept, because it widens the scope of our lives, so to speak, in terms of I can do anything. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
You can all do anything.
Yes. Now, Tombra, let me say this to you. It's better to start at your passion. It's better to start at your place of passion. Let me give you an example, Tombra. Do you know that most pastors, as their ministries become very large, I'm just giving pastors as an example, as their ministries become very large, they have to know a lot about building and engineering, because they have to build cathedrals and mega churches and all that. They have to know a lot about managing people. So even things that they don't have a natural passion for, they pass that. So let me tell you something. Knowledge is divergent and convergent. Even if you love doing a particular thing, it will ultimately link you up with other areas that you don't know about. Yes. So what I say to people, Tombra, you can start with what you love. But as you grow higher, it will open you to other areas as well.
So Kwame, I've got a question. So there was this thing that I created. I call it the identity trifecta matrix. And what it is, it's if you think about 3 concentric circles, you've got talent on one side here, you've got knowledge overlapping it, and then you've got, passion, right? And the point where the 3, so talent, knowledge, and passion, right? So the point where the 3 circles meet, there's like there's a point in the middle where the 3 circles meet. I call it, that's kind of like your zone of, genius. I say where you have your passion and your knowledge without talent is hard. That's your hard zone. Where you have knowledge and you have talent without passion, I call it your hollow zone. You can do it, but it's like pushing a rock up a boulder up a hill. And then when you have, your passion and you have, your talent without knowledge, I call it your zone of underservice. It's like you're underserving the world because you don't have knowledge layered upon it. So I want to talk about this in the context of what you're speaking about. You say, we can do anything, we can do everything, but where does natural talent come into this? Or does it not matter?
Talent discovery is not a request, it's a quest, it's a journey. It's a journey. You keep on discovering more and more. You keep on discovering more and more. So, but one of the best ways to discover your talent is to get in tune with yourself. Because the more you get in tune with yourself, your brain, your mind, the more you begin to know exactly where you stand, the uniqueness of your talent. Don't just say, I'm a rapper. What kind of rapper are you? Some rappers are more poetic than others. Some rappers are more metaphorical than others. Some rappers are more combative than others. That's where knowledge comes in. The more you go into knowledge, the more you find out who you really are at the deepest core of your existence. So it still boils down to the same thing. As you build your attention, you build your brain, you begin to grow deeper in your talents, you begin to grow deeper in your passion, you begin to grow deeper in your knowledge. Because when I started reading 500 books, I discovered my talents here the more. Do you know that, Tom Brown, I'm a rapper? I would even like to rap at the end of this session. Yes. Yes. And the more I studied, the better I became as a rapper. The better I became as a rapper, the more I studied, the better I became as a rapper. But, so as you go in deep into knowledge, your passion increases, because the part of your brain that controls knowledge is still the part of the brain that controls your passion. Yes, your passion. That's why I said that when you become more empathetic, you become more intelligent, you become more creative, because it's the same part of that brain. It's called the prefrontal cortex.
Okay.
It's a part of the...
So, Kami, what you're saying now, is, if we're bringing this home so that people have direct, tangible takeaways, what you're saying now, in essence, is that every single woman who's watching this is a genius. Or every single person. I don't think this necessarily applies to women.
Yes.
Is a genius. And yes. Your task in terms of being able to unlock the genius that you carry within you is literally just starting tomorrow, starting tonight, shutting things down. That don't, trying to quieten the distractions. So if you look at everything that you're working on, look at everything that is in front of you, and you say to yourself, actually, this, I'm not really sure. I want to focus on this. Essentially, expand your zone of focus, reduce your distractions, and you will instantly start to see yourself set up for a better 2022. Right? Is that what you're...
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So, but Tombra, I'd like to mention two other things. Now, another thing that the brain likes, the female brain likes, is repetition. Repetition is food for the brain as well. So repetition is a conduit, a catalyst for attention. So I say this to people: repetition gets your attention, repetition grows your attention, and repetition granulates your attention. I'll repeat myself one more time. Repetition gets your attention, repetition grows your attention, and repetition granulates your attention. Behind the genius of any genius was repetition. The genius of Isaac Newton was him repeating mathematical problems and equations 18 hours every day until he invented infinitesimal calculus. The genius of Dr. Dre as a music producer is him repeatedly working on beats and listening to music over and over again till he even goes to bed with his earphones. The genius of, and so on and so forth. Repetition is genius. So, for example, people ask me, how could you memorize 14 books of the Bible? And I say to them, it's easy. There's a formula. I use the repetition formula. You can speak 5 verses of the Bible 5 times in 5 minutes. And if you do so consistently for 5 days, you can commit it to your memory. You can speak 5 verses of the Bible 5 times in 5 minutes. And if you do so consistently for 5 days, you can commit it to your memory. And then I did what I call the VVV. If I hear it repeatedly, if I see it repeatedly, and if I speak it repeatedly, I can commit it to my memory. So verbalization, visualization, and vocalization. Repetition is genius. So what I say to people is this. For example, if I became the father of a biological child today, okay, so you know what I'll do? I would just, while my child is just, because when a child is between the ages of 0 and 7, he functions with a what we call a delta and theta brainwave. Whatever they hear, they assimilate almost automatically. That's why a child between the ages of 0 and 6 can learn 3 languages at the same time. When the child becomes 7 years old, to learn 1 language is difficult. So I would just let things be playing repeatedly. Things be playing repeatedly. If I want my child to be very vast with English language, I'll just let English language materials for children play repeatedly. See, Tombra, most of the creches that we send our children to, they don't understand this principle. They don't understand this principle at all. So when you send a child to a creche, they don't engage the power of repetition. So if you take a little child who wants to become a tennis genius to a Spartak tennis club in Moscow, one of these great tennis camps, you know what they do? They let the child start practicing without the ball. Even without the ball, just keep on repeating. Repetition is genius. The more repetition you engage in, the more your genius comes out. The more repetition you engage in, the more your genius comes out. So what I tell to people is this, Tombra. I say, some people don't have the willpower to do like 1 hour of repetition. I say to them, start with 5 minutes alone, because Tombra, I started with 5 minutes. About 14 years ago, I felt like committing suicide. I almost killed myself. Then when I was coming out of my suicidal battle, I started to say, okay, I'm going to turn my life around. I'm going to start with 5 minutes with the Bible alone. 5 minutes alone with the Bible. 5 minutes alone. I didn't do more than 5 minutes because I didn't even feel like reading the Bible anyway. So what's my business with the Bible? 5 minutes. And then I'll go and do other things. But as you consistently do this, guess what? You are going to, it's going to become, your brain is going to register it. When you start doing a thing repeatedly, your brain registers it. When your brain registers it, your brain begins to request for it. So the first level is the level of registering. Your brain registers it. Then the second level is the level of request. Your brain begins to crave it after a while. It begins to crave it and crave it. Then the next level is level number 3. Your brain begins to revel in it. It begins to, it wants it every time. And that's how people become tobacco addicts. First of all, the brain registers it. Then it begins to request it, and then it begins to revel in it. Those are the 3 R's. So one of my, I tell people that.
No, I was just going to say.
Okay, Tombra, let me say something. If any woman listens to this chat we are having, she can easily become a genius by next year. And I'm not fooling around. Let me tell you what they can do. Let me tell you. Number 1. When she wakes up in the morning, I'm going to drop a 1-pointer now. Whatever you do in the first 20 minutes when you wake up in the morning, resonates throughout the rest of your day as long as you do it consistently. I'll take it one more time. I'll repeat myself. Whatever you do in the first 20 minutes when you wake up, resonates throughout the rest of your day as long as you do so consistently. Now, the part of your brain that you activate in the first 20 minutes when you wake up becomes the strongest part of your brain over the next 24 hours. If women understood this principle, becoming a genius is very easy. So when a woman wakes up in the morning and the first thing she does, she goes into the shower to go and shower, she's just activating her motor cortex. And she's going to just end up being restless throughout the rest of the day if that's what she does consistently. However, if a woman wakes up in the morning and she says, I'm going to do something creative to sharpen my creativity quotient, guess what? And she does so every 20 minutes consistently. Guess what will happen? Her brain will register it, number 1. Number 2, that part of her brain, her medial prefrontal cortex, is going to become the largest part of her brain. And she will find out that it's going to resonate. Creativity will resonate throughout the rest of the day. And if she makes it a habit, guess what will happen? Her brain will not only register it, it will resonate it. It will begin to resonate. I mean, so to be to request for it and revel in it. Now, Tombra, let me tell you one thing that happens with the brain. Your brain produces 10,000 stem cells every day. What is a stem cell? A stem cell is a cell that produces other cells. Now, 5,000 stem cells go to the part of your brain that is most dominant. That is most dominant. Most dominant. So, for example, Tombra, if I spend most of my day being anxious, most of my day in anxiety, 5,000 stem cells will go to the anxiety center of my brain, and it will make the anxiety center of my brain larger. And that is how I go from tension to hypertension. Because when 5,000 stem cells go to the anxiety center of my brain, it becomes larger. I have a stronger tendency to be more anxious the day after. And that is how people go from tension to hypertension. That is how people go from interest to infatuation. That is how people go from attention to addiction, and so on and so forth. So, yes, if you want to be a genius, you must make sure that you are doing a particular thing predominantly. When you are not living a predominant life, you are cheating yourself.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Hold on, Tombra. You know, you are cheating yourself because the 5,000 stem cells that should go to the most predominant part of your brain, they will just die, and they will just die unutilized. So a lot of people are killing their brains every day because they are doing too many things, and no one is predominant. And because no one is predominant, those stem cells are just dying. And when your stem cells die, it collapses your health, and that's why people die before their time. Because when your stem cells are activated, it feeds what you call the fountain of your youth. Your body begins to recreate itself. Your immune system begins to regenerate itself. So that's why some people look younger than their ages. They keep looking younger. Some people look older than their ages. It has to do with how you are feeding the stem cells in your brain, whether you are doing a particular thing predominantly, especially if it is, of course, that's be the right thing you are doing, something you enjoy, something you are created to do, and so on and so forth.
So we have to have something that we're doing predominantly that is literally the work of our lives. Wow.
Yes. When you are not doing a thing predominantly, you are wasting 5,000 stem cells of your brain. They are flushed away, and you are underutilizing your genius, your brain, and your whole entire human being. And that's all.
About people that, that take pride in the fact that, I have so many things that I'm on the go at the same time. I have this flourishing organization here, this here, and things are moving. They have people that they delegate to, they build structures around each of these things. So is it then that because, and I'm asking a question that I'm almost answering myself, is it then because they're almost at the helm of activities and then they can delegate that it kind of still saves their brain power? And they're able to succeed in so many things.
Okay, Tombra, man, I love the questions you're asking. That question is an amazing question, and I'm going to answer it, and I'm going to do justice to that. Now, let me say this. When you talk about doing many things, there are two sides to it. Number one, if they complement each other, your brain registers it as if you are doing only one thing. If they complement each other. Now, let me give you an example. You know Solomon in the Bible says that Solomon spake 3,000 proverbs. And his songs were 1,005. As he was writing proverbs, he was writing songs. They complemented each other. If they are complementing each other, your brain registers it as if it's the same thing. For example, Jennifer Lopez is an actor. She's also a musician. They complement each other. There are architects who are involved in interior decor. They complement each other because as one, they are doing one, inspiration is coming. For example, I'm a songwriter, I'm a rapper. And that's the truth. I'm not joking. I'm a rapper. You understand? It's true. But you know what? As I'm studying my Bible, as I'm reading books, I'm getting inspired to write a song. They are not competing against each other. One is flowing out of the other. However, when you are a real estate expert in the morning, you are an event planner in the afternoon, you are a forex trader in the evening, and they are not they are competing against each other. For example, I have a friend. He's an investment banker in the morning. He's a lecturer in the evening. He loves to lecture, but he hates investment banking. But he's doing investment banking because investment banking brings a lot of money. They are competing against each other. You know what? That guy is doing injustice to his brain, his health, and his wellness. Yes. So Tombra, the question that the people need to ask themselves is that, are my pursuits complementing each other? Are my pursuits complementing each other? Does one flow effortlessly into another? Or when I'm doing one, I have to shut down and then do another one, and they are competing against each other. They are competing against each other. When they compete against each other, there's a dichotomy in the brain. The brain has to shut down and come up again, shut down and come up again. So the brain does not get into what we call flow. You know, there's what we call the flow state, a flow state where you are in a level of optimal attention and consciousness, what you call a flow state. Now, the reason why, that flow state is a state where people realize their optimal potential. Creativity increases, risk-taking increases, everything increases, alertness and all that. The reason why a lot of people never get into a flow state, you know why? Is because they live lives that compete against us. So they never get into a flow state. The flow state that people like Maradona will get into, people like the great violinists will get into when they are performing and they are in that flow state as if, you know, they are just, nothing can stop them. The flow state that a Michael Jordan will get into, or a T.D. Jakes will get into when he's preaching, or an Obama will get into when he's doing public speaking. You know, and when you are in that flow state, your body begins to renew itself. You become younger. You know, your body begins to, that's the heavenly state of mankind. But people have exchanged their flow states and that beauty of life for the life where they are doing too many things, and they are distracted here and there, and they miss out on the higher blessings and the higher things that life has to offer.
So are you saying that we don't have any kind of notable, superly successful people that have been successful in different endeavors? Very, very.
Now, Tombra, and let's try to name them. Let's try to name them if there are any. Let's try to name them if there are any, because what I'm saying to you is that people can succeed at doing many things. And that's why I use the example of Jennifer Lopez. I said she's an actor, she's also a singer, but they complement each other. Let's talk about Elon Musk, the richest man in the world. You know, he owns about 5 companies. He owns Tesla, or he's the CEO of Tesla. He's the CEO of SpaceX. He's the CEO of Solar City. He's the CEO of the Boring Company as well, the company that is doing underground tunnels for the city of Los Angeles. Now, if you look at everything he's doing, they sort of complement each other. They complement each other because Solar City is an electric panel company. Tesla is an electric car company. And then it's not as if there are people who handle Solar City, but they complement. You see that those businesses complement each other. Both of them are electric companies. The same thing with SpaceX. SpaceX is an exploration company. They are science-based companies as well. So that's my take on it. If they complement each other, okay. If they complement each other, okay. Let me tell you something. Some people will even tell you that my catering business complements my banking business. My catering business helps me to be a better banker. My banking business helps me to be a better caterer. All well and good. So be it. Let them continue. This thing is individual. There's no hard and fast rule to it. It is individual. It varies from individual to individual.
It's so interesting because I'm actually in a season of my life where I'm activating, you know, what I'm calling necessary endings. I don't know if you've read that book by Henry Cloud. You know, when you're kind of doing things, well, I hear the case of, okay, singular focus. But is there a case of, well, is there a consideration rather around when you are focusing on one thing? Is there a chance that you might go too far in that one thing and realize that maybe that's not the one thing that you want?
No, you know. Okay, continue. And I'll just go ahead and then I'll answer.
For me, what would make some sense is if you activate this principle of cyclical living. So by you're living in cycles, so you're doing this for a period of time. Then maybe if you then decide that that thing is strong enough, that thing can stand alone, you can now activate and take up something else. I don't know. Is there a case for that? Because I don't want to decide that, okay, you know what, I'm a singer, like I sing as well. I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter. I close everything down, stop coaching, stop everything. I'm not doing anything. All I'm focusing on is this one thing. Will I go 10 years in the future and then decide, why did I should have let, you know, music, I should have let the other things, maybe I could have been good in them as well. I don't know. Can you speak to that, please?
Yes, Tombra, you know what? Tombra, you are neglecting the kind of things I'm talking about. I told you that you can do more than one thing. If they complement each other, your brain registers it as if it's one thing. So if your singing complements your main pursuit, your main core of existence, your brain registers as if it's one thing. But if they compete against each other, that it kills your attention. Once you lose your attention, you have lost everything. So Tombra, let me tell you something. Do you know that if your attention functions optimally, if anything is about to happen to a member of your family, you will know it. Let me tell you something, Tombra. The reason why things take us by surprise is that our attention level is low. I'm telling you. The way the human body is designed to function, if your attention level is high, nothing will take you by surprise. Nothing around your core environment will take you by surprise. Wow. I'm telling you. Yeah, so when a woman says that, my daughter is into drugs and I don't know it, it's because her attention is dead. Oh, my son has gotten into cannabis, I didn't know it, or my son is into this and that, or my son has got, I didn't know it. It's because if your attention is alive, I'm telling you, even if that daughter is in Dubai and the son is in Wisconsin, or the son is in Adelaide or Melbourne in Australia, you are in Nigeria, you will know it. The way the brain is wired to function. I know what I'm talking about.
Wow. Wow. Yes,
because I told you, Tombra, I said the stronger your attention, the stronger your intuition, your inspiration, your innovation, your invention, your insights, your ideas. And that's why I said the greatest ideas don't come to people who are distracted every 15 minutes. Your greatest asset is your attention. Once you lose your attention, you have lost everything. It's only a matter of time. Once you lose your attention, you have lost everything. So, Tombra, what I'm trying to say to people, to women especially, because I love talking about how women can optimize their power. I'm saying this. You want to become a female genius, or you want to optimize the power of your female brain, or you want to optimize the power of your brain. Number one, it's possible. Number two, use the first 20 minutes after you wake up constructively and consistently. That's number one. Number three, make sure that you are thinking about something predominantly. If not, you are cheating yourself and your brain stem cells. Number four, live a focused life. Make sure that your pursuits are complementing each other and not competing against each other. Number five, recognize that the only reason why human beings are distracted is that there's something else to think about. If you had only one thing, talking a lot reduces the power of your focus. Talking a lot reduces, so silence helps your focus. So all these things, that's why I see these things work in my life, and that's why I love to share this with the rest of the world.
So come here, and I don't want to open up a whole can of worms. The problem is that beginning. Like me, I always want to journal. Right, and I was saying this to my mentor once, she journals all the time, and I was like, I like the idea, but that consistency, like that beginning bit, before you get to the point where you get to that point where it's a habit, and you're attracted, it's kind of propelling you towards it. It's that beginning bit. How do you push past it?
Yes, Tombra, good question. The way to push is to start small. I'm telling you, Sandra, Tombra, you know what? If you don't feel like journaling, just bring your pad. Start with bringing your pad and open it and just look at it. Just look at it and if you don't feel like exercising, just wear your tracksuit. Just start something. An object in motion remains in motion. And just don't despise the 5 minutes or the 2 minutes or the 1 minute. Just start something. The problem with us is that we despise. You see, every habit is sour at the start, messy at the middle, but easy at the end. At the start is sour, at the middle is messy, but at the end is easy. So just start something. For example, if I was you, you know what I would do? I would just start by, I won't even journal. I would just dictate it on my phone voice recorder. I would just start by saying 1 minute of it, and then stop there. And then say another minute of it, and stop there, and say another minute, and say another minute. Guess what? This year, I've written 10 books. I've not written one of them. But I just say it to my phone. Whenever I get an idea, I'll just record it on my phone. Record it on my phone, 2 minutes, and then drop it. And then, by the time we put all the 2 minutes together as my organization, we had 10 books. Yes, Tombra, just start small. Just start with 1 minute. Just say, okay, you want to journal something. What's the first thing that comes on your mind? Just take your phone, just record 2 minutes, and don't despise or belittle the power of little things. If little foxes spoil the vine, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep, and what happens? Major things happen. A little living livens the whole lump. Don't despise the power of little things. Little steps here and there, here and there. If you improve yourself by 1% every day, by the end of the year, you have improved by 37%. Yes. Yeah, Tombra, maybe you should make me your accountability partner. Maybe.
Maybe I should because I'm really liking. And then the final question with regards to the first thing that you do when you wake up. You said that it has to be something that, activates you for the day, something that really, really adds value to you. What are some examples of these sorts of things? Is it you meditating? Like what is I want you to just speak to that, just because I'm always all about my listeners getting practical steps. I don't like up talk. I want you to
yes, very good. And that's what I like. Both of us are on the same page. Okay, so what about you waking up in the morning and you say, okay, I'm just going to journal for 5 minutes, my thoughts, I'm going to journal for 5 minutes, or I'm going to do any of the 7 hours. I'm going to read for 5 minutes, or reason for 5 minutes, or remember or reflect for 5 minutes. I'm going to remember or reflect for 5 minutes, or I'm going to research for 5 minutes, or I'm going to engage in repetition. I'm going to take an affirmation and repeat it to myself for 5 minutes. So any of the 7 hours, reading, reasoning, remembering, reflection, repetition, research. The 7th hour is rest, but you just came out from rest, so we can put the 7 hours journaling. So any of those ones.
Thank you for joining me this week on Created for More, the podcast. Make sure you visit my website. I'm at tombra.com, where you can subscribe to the show either via iTunes or Spotify so that you never miss a show going forward. You can also follow me on social media. I'm at tombra.moswago. And if you love the show, please leave a rating on iTunes so that we can continue to bring you amazing episodes. Thanks for listening, and see you next week. Don't forget, you were created to be more, to do more, and have more. Bye for now.